brought him up.
I take it back. I know where I first met Elon. Yeah,
The way that you were,
the income of bingo that was, paying for snacks.
Do you remember the emergency sex ed class we had in 5th grade?
It's Paul. I get it.
That's my point.
I get it. He's popular. The Gen Zs love him, but he's a tool bag, and he shouldn't have any fame.
Primal Beef Jerky is the sponsor of the Chubby Buddies podcast, and they're a locally owned small batch beef jerky company that reached out to us week 1, I believe it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, week 1.
I think it was week 1.
Bo heard the first episode and jumped on board, man. They were excited. They knew we were all about our snacks, so they knew we were the people to ask about eating good snacks, and they definitely hooked us up with the greatest beef jerky that's out there. That's all there is to it, man. Like, it is Primal, by far the highest quality beef jerky that's out there. It's small batch. It's right here, made here in Kansas. Well, I say here. I'm not in Kansas, but it is made in Kansas. Yeah. And
but they're flavor packed, mouth watering. It's crazy. What's that?
5 different states it's sold in.
Yeah, they're sold in 400 plus stores across 5 states: Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. And if you're not in those 5 states, all you got to do, and the perk of being a listener of this podcast, is going to www.feedonprimal.com. And at checkout, after you've filled your cart with at least $50, is what the cap is for free shipping if you're worried about shipping. And then if you're not worried about free shipping, at checkout, plug in the promo code at the checkout window with the promo code Chubby, that's CHUBBY, and that'll save you 15% off your order. And if you do meet that $50 free shipping cap, the math wizard here has done the math in his head, and
you get a free bag, baby. That's how it works.
You roughly get a free bag of beef jerky with the promo code, and if you hit the $50 cap. But if you don't, oh well, you still get a perk for listening to the podcast, and
that Chubby discount's going to get you 15% no matter how much jerky you get. But if you do get 6 bags with that free shipping and that discount, it's basically like getting a bag for free. And if you get 6 bags, it lets you try every single one of their flavors. And man, you cannot miss with their jerky. Every flavor is amazing. However, bacon jalapeno might be the most amazing.
They have 6 flavors, and that is original, hot, sweet and spicy, teriyaki. Let's see if I can do this again. Cracked pepper and bacon jalapeno.
That's right. Yes, sir.
That's all 6. Really, you aren't going to go wrong with any flavor. So if you want to try something you've never tried, do that. If you have tried, I guess, all those flavors in another product, but I would suggest you at least try these, because they're not going to be anything like the other ones that you've tried. I mean, once you try this, you're going to become a jerky snob, in my opinion.
It's true. You will look at beef jerky differently. Your approach to it will change.
This is too thin. This is too thick. This is too wet. I prefer dry jerky, so I don't think it could ever be too dry. I'm sure it could, to where it's like crunchy, but
dry. But this stuff is
this
perfect.
Is not
it's seasoned well.
I have a bag here. That's not unopened. It's now opened. And my word was consistent. Sweet and spicy.
Sweet and spicy. There it is.
Sweet and spicy. And that jerky is consistent around the board.
Let them see that seasoning. Let them see all that flavor on there. First, turn it sideways. Let them see that thickness of that cut of meat. Like, it's good quality meat. It's fresh. Oh, man.
And this was like probably several months ago. This was back in like winter, I do believe. I asked the fellas that were on here to describe Primal in one word. My word, I feel, I guess, almost defines Primal in one word, and that's consistent. They're consistent across the board. That's Absolutely. What they're pretty much the design of the jerky itself. So the meat that they pick is 100% pure beef, made in the U.S. Well, made in Kansas. And I don't think they have anything else. Like, probably maybe seasonings. The only thing that's not made here in Kansas. That's probably it. But you're never going to go wrong if you order this, ever.
High quality jerky. So, it's the best stuff out there.
Not crunchy. But we do appreciate Primal, and we also appreciate your listeners. And Primal's giving back to you by giving you guys a 15% off discount by visiting their website. That is, again, www.phenonprimal.com. And at checkout, use promo code Chubby. That's CHUBBY. I wanted to start things off different and kind of like say thanks to the listeners, because literally nothing has like gotten worse. Like with Jordan's been gone because he's been busy. Our plus one has not been here since week. Oh, I don't know. It's been a minute since him and Billy have been working on the organization together.
I don't like to admit when I'm wrong, if I'm being honest, Bobby, but I'm feeling a little guilty about calling Daniel my plus one because I miss him. You know, if he was truly a plus one, it wouldn't be a big deal that he's gone. But honest to goodness, I miss the guy.
Well, we need a plus one because it's in the name. I mean,
I know. And Daniel,
it is what it is. And it fits perfectly.
I know. So, Jordan, Daniel,
but I do want to.
I hope you guys are still listening.
Yeah, we do miss you guys. But I also want to say thank you to the listeners. I want to say if you're a new listener, I highly hope that you I guess think about hitting that. I mean,
they're hilarious.
I think they're really going to tell a difference about where, like, we've switched programs that we record on, and I mean, we've added different things, and we've gotten way better on the visual part of things. But the audio we're trying to really work on, because if we're trying to show you something, we've got to be more descriptive with it. So, I just want to say thanks to the listeners for staying, I guess, listeners. And if you're not a subscriber now and you are bored, you want to listen to us talk shit about people. Your dogs are what?
My dogs are whining right underneath the computer. Hang on,
I can't hear it.
I can, and they're being loud. Stop it. Stop it.
Oh, now I hear it.
Let's go outside. Come on. I'll be right back, Bob. Oh, I know what it is. They're not going. They're not moving, and it's because I'm sitting here with food, and they're like,
"Oh,
we want to eat your food, Dad." I know.
But no, I was literally just taking this second to, I guess, sort of invite people who are just listening, and if they're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Hit that like button. Comment if there's something that you might want to hear on here. Like, we've got no problem bringing in any other type of conversations into it. I mean, normally it's just stuff that we used to do.
So if you have questions, if there's stories you want to hear, we got 25 years of history here. So
for sure. And then also you can check us out on Facebook.
Ask us about the first time we, I don't know, what would be a good story to tell the first time we...
Like, for a starter? I mean, how we met was, I mean, I don't know if we've told that story on here, like, in the past time, but I don't think it would fit well if Jordan wasn't here.
Really I don't know that we have clarified how we all met.
I don't know. I know that we've, like, kind of, like, had, like, we've kind of referred back to it in other conversation, like telling other stories, but we'll have to do that one time when Jordan's on here, and that way it fits all the puzzle pieces fall together. But
the origin,
literally sit here, tell stories about each other, make fun of each other, find out new things about each other. That's another wild thing.
Yeah, dude.
Because
finding out one of your best friends didn't like something all these years, and you're like, what?
But no, we're also on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're also on TikTok. I do my best at keeping up with the posting to all three at the same time, and I've sort of linked most of those together, so we'll see what happens. So, but if you hit that subscribe and hit that bell, you get notified if we post anything new. And you can also listen to us on all major, like, listening platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So I just want to shout out the listeners and also shout out our sponsors of the show, and that's Primal, Beef Jerky, and Heartland Championship Wrestling here in Hutchinson. So
we're around, y'all. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
But Josh, what's been going on with you? You've had quite the week since I talked to you on Monday.
It's been a wild summer. Wild summer. Just really chaotic right now. I finished up my schoolwork, so I'm in between semesters finally, so I'm taking a break on some schoolwork. Man, I had a sprint of about 5 weeks there in the summer that were 7:30 in the morning until about 11 at night, 7 days a week. Ooh. Kind of thing.
Well, 7:30 is me sleeping in sometimes, and that's kind of sad.
Series of events of camps and fundraising projects that we were doing and just stuff like that. So it was a really, really chaotic summer. But now that we're kind of getting ready back into the school year, it's getting settled down. So yeah, like everything's chaos everywhere. And then on top of that, we had a storm blow in last week. What was that, Sunday night, Heather? Sunday night we had a storm blow in, and it knocked over a tree in our front yard, and that tree landed on our roof. So we had Monday morning we woke up, walked outside, and our big trees laying on our roof. So we had to cut that down and get that hauled away, and so it's just
No more word about that. Anything about that? Like, did you find out if there was too much damage to anything, or are you looking pretty good right now?
I mean, I've got to pay a deductible on my insurance, so that part sucks. But ultimately, you know, they're going to cover the cost of getting the tree off my house, of getting the roof repaired, stuff like that, minus the deductibles. So
That's pretty good.
yeah, it's poor timing. I don't appreciate the timing of it, but you know, it could have been way worse. Our vehicles were fine. The damage to the roof is minimal. It does need to be repaired. That picture. Yeah,
I should share that picture on here to have it come across the screen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go for it, man. Pull it up.
Wild.
It is wild, but when you look at it, you can actually see like my it's wild. Like where it landed on the roof is my Starlink, my satellite, and it fell. Like if this is the satellite, the branches fell and landed over top of it like that. And when
That's
I told
Elon alien stuff right there,
bro, I'm telling you, it was like I was provided for. Like it could have been way worse. It could have damaged my vehicles. It could have damaged my roof way worse. It could have knocked out my satellite, my internet. Like it was significantly way less bad than it could have been, and it blew me away.
It was the minimal damage. What about anybody else? Did anybody else have any trees down on your street? Because I've been down your street and I've told this story times.
In my town, there was a pretty significant one. Actually, the mayor where he lives, from what I understand, like a tree landed on his house. Like he lives in a mobile home, so it landed on his house, and
that's
like
the mayor?
Their bedroom. And like he's alive and okay. From what I understand, he like damaged his neck or something like that. I don't know
that's crazy.
That's factual, but I do know it did land on his house, and from what I understand, it hit his bedroom. So they had it way worse than we did. Yeah. So
speaking of weather, what's the weather like there? Because this is the hottest day in August I've ever had. We reached 110.
It's swelteringly hot today. Like
it's a dry heat here.
Yeah, it was. Well, there was no cloud coverage, there was no breeze, and it was well in the high.
We have a breeze, but nothing. It's still a dry heat for Kansas.
Yeah, it's
at 110.
But
and it doesn't get low.
Today's been the hottest day, but before this, it was actually really nice out. It's been cool.
Yeah, 80s, 90s. Yeah. I think we topped out at the summer at like 107 for the actual temp. Feel like was going to be higher, but with the dry heat, what the temperature is also what it feels like usually. So like 110 at noon. Well, it was more like 1 o'clock when it hit like 109, 110. It was wild.
Ugh.
For August anyway.
Miserable. No, thank you.
I would I've always said this. I would much rather live in winter year round than summer. 1 extra month. Like I couldn't do it. I can't sleep. I couldn't imagine. Like
here's the problem with winter though. Like there's never like I love winter.
I will live with our winter. I just couldn't live in like North Dakota winter. I don't think I could do that. I don't like driving in it. But I'd much rather be cold because you can always put more stuff on. You can't take much stuff off if you're too hot. I mean, legally, you can't.
I 100% agree with that premise. But there's so much more to do in the summer that, like, I can't love winter that much.
Right. I mean, like, outside of, like, like, participating.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean. Like, specifically outdoors.
But like, if it could be a temperature of like 70 year round, then I would be fine with that. But I would
Bro,
much rather live in winter.
I could perfectly run. Hey, dude.
Bigger burger.
No, she's running the vacuum while I'm trying to podcast. You did. You just didn't process.
This podcast is brought to you by Kirby.
No, this one's by Rosie the Roomba Robot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Too bad we don't have a Dyson. We get a Dyson fan going. I love them Dyson fans. They're wild.
Me too.
But no, speaking of what's been going on with you, did your kids' school start?
No, it starts this coming week. So they'll start on Tuesday. Wow. Yeah. Crazy.
And they're going to be juniors in high school, correct?
Dude, why did you have to say that? Like,
because for listeners and viewers, like, it's a different experience. So if you're watching,
for
like,
me, it's like,
so your looks said everything. The way that I said it told the listeners.
Do you see the gray hairs? Like,
I don't see that.
Not a patch of bald.
I mean, it's white.
You're right. It's white. It's just flat out white. And it's because I have two teenagers in my home, and they are juniors now in high school.
Could be worse.
And I have two huskies as well that never stop. Hush. Be quiet.
Sounds like you need to put that burger up.
You're too loud. I don't even have it out. They're just in each other's face because they want attention. Go away.
Well, no. School started here Thursday, I think. Thursday? And then in Wichita this past Thursday. And then before that, Wichita started school, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't miss going, like, having that back to school feeling, like, at all. Like, like, in the moment, like, you got excited and you lost a little bit of sleep. But, like, why is it that your first day of school is your best and also your last day of school is the best?
When you were younger, it's because you like the transition. You get bored with the routine and you like the transition.
But I don't like waking up early.
To the school routine, you remember how boring the school routine is. And you're like, no, I want the freedom of summer.
I will say this, that if high school was more like college setup, like, I would have probably done so much better. Like,
think so?
Oh yeah. Like, because I'm a night person. So like doing tests or like paying attention, really, like, I would have done that so much better if I could choose what time that I took that class and whatever. So if I'm bad at math, why would you make me go there at 7 a.m.? I already don't want to be there. That's about the dumbest shit. 7 a.m. Oh, you got geometry.
We had 7 a.m. classes in college, so I didn't get a
break. But you had the choice to take that class, right?
That's true. I did have a choice.
And that's what I'm saying. So like students, like, I think that they've done like a couple like studies that some people just take tests better later in the day, and like all your like ACTs and stuff are like at 7 a.m. So give me a test at 5. I bet you I get like at least a 12. I'm just saying.
Did you get it twice though? That's the question.
I get a 13 the second time.
Oh my, you are confident, my guy.
Yeah, 5 p.m. means a lot.
That math section instead of Christmas tree.
I don't study those. I didn't study the ACTs in the first place. Okay, I took it because I was told I had to take it to get into college, and that's why I took it. And when anybody asks what my score was, I still, to this day, I say a 22.
22. And why is it you say that, Bobby?
I scored at 11 twice, and even check this out. Check this out. Even my advisor, I don't remember. It was a female. It was I forgot her name. My advisor was shocked because she said, "You never hit the same number twice." And I was like, "Hold my beer."
And 11. Just by the way, in case you guys are curious, I think you get like 8 points for putting your name on the paper.
No, that's the SATs. You get points for putting your name. But you should at least have the option, is what I'm getting at. And that's why I'm thinking, like, if you're a bad student, or they say, oh, he's just not learning at the same level, try changing it up a bit and putting him in evenings. Like, you might see a big difference.
There's some wisdom there, man.
Did you get excited, like, about the first day of going back to school? Like,
always, yeah.
Like backpack, like going shopping for supplies, school clothing, maybe.
Yeah,
Supplies
not so
was
much
my
on
thing
that
though.
side.
I like a good
Um,
pen.
that wasn't always available, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah,
Getting new
I was
clothes, stuff
poor.
like that. I
We
know.
can agree
So,
we were both poor, and that's why this
I
thing
know.
works.
Y'all make me laugh the way you talk about me being the rich one of our crew, and still being
I
all
never
three of
really
us.
thought you were rich.
Well, neither do I. But like of the three of us, y'all joke that I was the best off, and we were all still poor. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And
And
that's
both your
true.
parents
That's
had a job.
honestly true. That's honestly true. We were all poor, but my family was probably a little better off of the poor ones.
But you being
Yeah,
the way
Mom
that
always
you
had
were,
that steady income of bingo that was paying for snacks.
steady income. It was
You
her
know,
night every night,
she'd
baby.
hit a 500. She'd hit a blackout, and then she'd go to the store and buy Little Debbie's and stuff and stock the cabinet. So we'd be like, yes.
She would stop at Spangles on Mondays and get those half price burgers. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Or Taco Bell, that nacho bell, like that combo where you got a nacho bell grande, you got a cheesy gordita crunch or whatever. Like it was all that things, and
Bro, I
we'd split it
miss the
between us.
days of dollar menus and value menus. Like
Yeah,
we
now it's like
thrived
$2.99.
on that. Like I remember all of high school. That's all we ever did. We had combos at every value menu in town. Like we
Arby's
knew
5 for
the
$5.95.
5 for 5. We had different layouts for our 5 for 5. What are you doing this week, huh? What's your combo this week? What are you doing?
Have you
Like,
ever
it's
tried
hilarious.
try it out Tuesdays where you just do some wild stuff? You get fries from one place, a burger from another, a drink from another, and a dessert from
I
another.
have not done that, but I've heard of people doing that, and I think I want to try that.
Now, in
Like
your
a
area, it's
little.
going to be a little bit more difficult because you're more spread out, so your food's going to get cold in
No,
between
no,
each section.
no, baby. Go to Branson. No way. I can
Oh
hit
yeah.
so
Well, I'm
much.
saying normally you go get the stuff and then you take it back. So like the
Oh,
drive for
okay.
you would only be the difficult is all I'm saying. Or you
Gotcha.
could take it to a park. Like that would probably be your best bet. But no, going back to us talking about being rich, you were probably better off, but you guys missed out on other things to sort of balance everything out. So like your dad being gone on the road, you didn't get to see him as much as like probably me or Jordan.
Right.
So I mean, we pretty much had the exact same childhood, like with like what we were given as kids. So like
Oh
we
yeah,
weren't given everything. We either
for
had to
sure.
work for it, or it came at Christmas time, and it was usually a shared gift between our siblings. That's usually how that
Mhm.
goes. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. I
Not
mean,
at
I
all.
think that's probably
That's the way.
I think that's probably best because if you look at it, all the people that we grew up with that were given everything and were able to get everything, like where they at now, bro?
a little. That it tends to lead to some entitled behavior when you're handed
Yep.
everything you want without having to work for it or without ever being told no. So
Right. But back to school, like the reason why I hated it was probably waking up. Even you said it. I didn't hear anything when it came to waking up in the mornings.
oh,
Like let's go back to the what about Bob scenario. Like you could not wake me up with any sound or whatever. But if it was like you would have to shake me or like ring a little tiny bell, and then I'd wake up. Like I'm assuming you haven't seen What About Bob back yet again,
no, I
right?
haven't. No, yeah.
Okay, so what about Bob? He doesn't wake up with any loud alarms or any shaking, and then all of a sudden you hear this like little click, and then his radio comes on with like this soft music, and then he wakes up all fine and dandy. It's pretty funny. That's one thing that he does do. But like I hated waking up, man. I hated it. That's the worst part of the day is waking up, and then you have to like go do math at 7 a.m.
You were always in love with your sleep, man. That is for sure. One
Still
thing I
am.
can say, like Bobby never missed an opportunity to sleep. Like,
And now I nap. I didn't used to nap. It was
you're a
usually
napper
I
now?
slept 8 to 10. Oh, I have to get up at 5:45, 6 o'clock every morning now.
Bro, I'm up pretty much on the dot at 5 every morning. Not even by
Yeah,
choice,
I
not
still
with an
can't hear my
alarm.
alarm. Jamie, she's got to nudge me like 12 every alarm. She nudges me. But
That's
but
precious.
I had a question for you since we're going back to school. Like we always talk about like the stuff we were good at in school. Like you liked math, I mean, Jordan and I both liked history. Jordan was kind of like, I don't think he was really on one side or the other. I think he like decently liked both probably, but more history.
Jordan had a gifting for like history and social studies. I
Yeah, and
really think like anything that had to do with historical information or like
I loved history. I loved learning about like little things about the history that like
but
they don't tell
Jordan
you
was
in
always
books.
intrigued by people. And so I think
Oh yeah,
like sociology, he took that and was good
so
at
did I. I
that.
love that.
Like
We all three did in
anything
the
that
same
had to do
class.
with people, Jordan was surprisingly really like just I don't know, he had an awareness of it and could tune in.
Yeah, sociology was a fun class because one that was like one of the two classes we all three were in sociology and
Yeah.
psychology.
Yeah. Psychology was interesting because of who the teacher was.
Oh yeah, she did not like you at all,
No.
Miss
And
Smith.
I honestly kind of enjoyed that. Like I
I think
played that
I
up.
don't think she hated you like until that one incident that occurred with Jordan and his Mountain Dew. That was that was the threshold that reached her, and then that she was like, "Yep, this guy's done." And for the ones who don't know, we were in a class together. I told Josh, I pretty much said, I don't even know how it led up to it. Did I bet you to do it, or did it be like, was I like, I bet you won't do
Oh,
this?
I think it was in that season where we were all telling each other no balls.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember that?
Anyway, I pretty much and I pretty much
we
was
used
like,
to do that to each other all the time.
Josh, you ain't got no balls to shake Jordan's Mountain
No
Dew.
balls.
And for
No
those that don't know Jordan, Jordan hates two things. He hates one, getting hit in the head, and two, a flat Mountain Dew.
Like
He
you want
cannot
to talk
stand
about
it.
triggering behavior. This man will fly off the handle faster than a cast iron being cast out by Thor. Okay, like it is wild.
He held pretty good composure, if you think about it.
He really does. But
I'm
those
saying when
two
that
things,
incident, but
oh,
that's what I'm saying. He had pretty good. He held himself back so well that I was like, damn it, because that's what you're hoping for.
oh,
You want the
you mean that
reaction
day? You talking
that
about that
day,
day? Oh,
that day,
absolutely. He held himself
and it was
together that
only
day.
because we were in school.
Yeah.
Only because. But anyway, so
anywhere else, had I have done that on the basketball court, on the football field, at my house,
you would
anywhere
have got
else,
nut cupped.
he would have nut checked me hard for sure. He would have came after me.
So after that, I was just like, Josh, no balls. You won't shake Jordan's Mountain Dew. And what does he do? He picks it up and he shakes it. Jordan's face. He gets loud, and that's what was funny. He got loud. He's like, "Why would you do that?" And then she looks over and she's like
just betrayed. Just
yeah, he hated.
Why would you do that?
He was disgusted. It was like Parmesan cheese under his nose, disgusted.
Yeah. He was offended. It wasn't just like there was offense taken.
And it was also probably because he just got the Mountain Dew, and that's probably what added to it. But
well,
Miss Smith had heard.
You know how he's always been about his Mountain Dew, and like a cold Mountain Dew, like so to mess with his
right after lunch,
right before he gets to taste it, is just evil.
But Miss Smith hears this commotion and she looks over at him and she sees what's going on. She kind of realizes what's going on, and she's like, "Yeah." She almost like gets on Jordan's side immediately, and she's like, "You know, you're lucky." So
it's a fair question.
It was psychology, yeah. So
yeah,
she straight up goes, "You know, I would almost be like a means to like turn around if he wanted to turn around and sock you." And then Josh, being who he is, like we said, Josh stands up and he said, "Man, there would only be 2 hits, me hitting him and him hitting the floor." And then that's she goes, "You're too cocky." Oh man, that was a good moment in our life. Oh, you gotta love it. But what was your least favorite class? So if you think of grade school, middle school, high school, and college, like did you have like because you've always been naturally good at books and like you've been very book savvy, very education savvy. What education method or what teacher maybe or what subject did you just absolutely hate? Period. Like you would despise it.
It's tough to say that there was really even any subject that I despised. I think the one I struggled with most was reading early on, and not reading as in like being able to read, but reading comprehension tests were always too vague and ethereal to me. And it was mostly because I just hadn't developed my reading, processing, and understanding skills. And so I would say that area always kind of confused me. But beyond that, like, because the logic of the numbers of math and physics, the science stuff, that all
Right.
flows easy for me. I can process all of that.
So that was your reading, like pretty much. That was kind of like how you read words. Like I read words and I don't look at numbers. You can read numbers and see words almost.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, and weirdly enough, where I struggle in math is when it changes into reading problems.
Word
When it
problems.
changes into comprehension problems. Specifically, proofs. If you ever got into that world in math, when you had to write proofs.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
That was the bane of my existence. That like section, I got a D in math. It's the lowest grade I'd ever gotten on any section of math. But I could not tolerate the idea of proofing because it goes so much against the nature of my ADHD. Like the idea of writing down and explaining the process of how I came to a conclusion. Like my brain does that at such a speed. Like the notion of slowing that down and writing that down into words, like was unfathomable.
But
now
that's
that
like
I'm
me
older
with math.
and can process that.
I think maybe I can understand words better than you can, and then you just understand numbers 100 times better than I can.
Absolutely,
like,
for sure.
You were always the math and like I don't ever see you as a science guy, but I know you like space and stuff like that. That part of science, but like
I
the
say
other
science,
stuff.
it's more so physics. It's mostly physics and chemistry were the two areas that I really love. The movement of protons and the way that our elements follow the rule of 8 and merge together and become stable and unstable. Like that whole process is just such an amazing thing to me. And it's all mathematical in nature. It's all understandable. It's all laid out through a grid. And so like to me, those are the building blocks of our world. And so to me, like that makes sense. Like I can understand that. I can understand like that everything flows from those calculations. So to me, God is this insane architect who has created this amazing world, and it follows this incredible line of rules and logic and code that makes everything work, and yet still somehow he's able to interact and miraculously change things. Like it just it's how I understand the world. It does wonders to my faith because of I understand probably more than some how intricate things are, both at the macro and the micro scale, because of my love for this stuff. And it just screams to me evidence of, at the very least, intelligent design. Like, I genuinely don't understand how anyone who spends any time, like, studying our world, studying how it's created, studying its origins, there's no way you can process any of that and not at least come to the conclusion that it is not accidental, that it is not cosmic chance, that there has to be some sort of intelligent, creative mind that made this happen. It's just not reasonable. You don't walk into a forest and see a cell phone laying on the ground and think, when did that grow here? You think this doesn't belong because it is clearly designed differently.
So is that like us with the pyramids?
Yeah. Well, man, I'll tell you what, if you study and look at the pyramids, man, there's some interesting stuff behind that.
Oh, they were the smartest. Whoever built this was the smartest of their time. Of course, now I can't say that for everything. They're the smartest people,
Bobby,
probably
you don't understand.
of the
There's pyramids all across the lines, all across the ley lines of Earth. It's not just
it's mathematically impossible to do today, is what they say.
No,
like with what we have. Yeah, they said that it can't be done with the way they couldn't fit a. What was it?
Oh yeah.
apparently the
Heather's
math
telling me to
was.
turn on the Chiefs game.
Oh, you're good. But she was telling me. I was reading somewhere.
If you
I was
look,
reading somewhere
man,
that like the pyramids, you can't fit paper through the gaps, and that's across the line. So it's mathematically perfect, like with the way that it lines up to everything.
That finely cut and mathematically measured. But that's the thing, man. Like these. So here's what I was going to say. One, you have to understand pyramids exist in multiple cultures. Multiple cultures built pyramids. So it goes to show one.
There, aren't they?
Do what?
Isn't it because they're like the strongest type of like building there?
Possible. That where they lay in connection with it's not the equator line, but where oh come on.
Mecca?
No, they align with specific astrological
okay. I remember what you're talking about.
It points to astrology, like it's more significant than just a massive structure. It had so much value. It was essentially, it worked in it helps a compass. I genuinely believe, and I think as we're discovering more about pyramids, I am tempted to believe that there was an element of electrical carriage with temples. Almost every single pyramid seems to be capped with a stone that is that is a superconductor. Okay.
Okay, so that electricity would be attracted to.
Yeah. Yes, that would draw on electricity. Okay. These things are built, as you said, completely secure. And we have evidence now that there are 3,000-year-old batteries created out of jars used in Egypt. Man, I'm telling you, I think that we underestimate the intelligence of ancient societies. And I'm telling you, they may not have had the fancy technology. Like when I say technology, I mean computers and the ability to, assembly line print and stuff like that. But they were creating technology of their own in their day that rivals everything we're doing. And you think about the work that like Tesla did, and in the areas of like frequency and radio waves and things like that, stuff that we still don't have clear understandings of or clear. I mean, frequency. The fact that there is a frequency that exists that can shatter everything. That is insane to me. You understand that, right?
Well, when I sit here and I think about it, what I think about is that I'm not thinking enough or something, because like really you have to have somebody from the get-go that's sitting there thinking about to start like from the get-go, ground zero, to build everything off of that. Who the hell sat down and was like, "Hey, I wonder if this." Like that gets me to think.
Like I can tell you specifically, like I've read a couple of Tesla's biographies, and Tesla, for example, he would just look at what was already wrong and then like in vision style, like it would come to him in a dream. His alternating current motor that he built came to him in a dream. He just all of a sudden knew how to build this thing. And what it is he was curious, and he let that curiosity drive his intelligence.
And that's what I'm saying. Like we're not curious enough, or we are curious, but we're not sitting there. Yeah, we're limited upon like we've got too many distractions around us. We have our cell phones, we have our video games, we have our TV.
We're too afraid to fail.
Everything.
Too afraid to fail.
And I wouldn't even. There's only one person right now that I can think of that is that type of person, and that is Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the only person on this planet that is anywhere near that level of like just he doesn't care about like what other people like really find out or don't find out. He just wants to know whether or not his thought might be true.
Yep.
But we wouldn't have Tesla today if it wasn't for him. originally, and that's really where he got his shine of fame. Well, no, actually, it was like PayPal, wasn't it? Wasn't that where he got started? It was like
Tesla was his
PayPal
first
or
major one, but yeah, he was
part of one of
no,
those
'cause
payment companies.
was Tesla before the Hyperloop? Or was the Hyperloop first?
I don't know. Really, to be
The
honest,
Hyperloop was one of the first places that I first found out about him. That was a long time ago, and the Hyperloop's not even talked about anymore. I don't even know if that's still happening.
right? I found out about Elon back when somebody was doing when they release their cell phones or release a new cell phone, they get up on stage and talk about what they're doing. I think I was watching watching something like that, and somebody had brought him up.
I take it back. I know where I first met Elon.
Like, heard of him?
Wow, yeah. Iron Man 2.
Where? I've never seen any Iron Man, so.
What? Oh,
Nope.
He's got a cameo in Iron Man 2.
I know that he wasn't quite the looker, that's for sure.
He was so young, I think it's before his hair regrowth. I think it's when he still kind of looks bald.
He's an alien, dude. I'll give you that. For sure.
Elon? No.
He is an alien compared to us. Like, you and I are not on that level. That is an alien.
Yeah, I agree.
But let's get back to the school thing. I wanted to know what your least favorite was, and you pretty much said that you don't have a least favorite subject.
Well, okay, least favorite
lacked in other ones.
Reading. It was the challenge of, I didn't like having to sit down and tell people what other people were thinking. That was dumb to me.
An opinion.
Like reading a book and then saying, well, this is what the author was getting at. Like, that was dumb to me. Now,
oh yeah,
that's stupid because now that's what I do for a living. Is I read the Bible and then I interpret it and preach it. So,
but that's what I think. Like,
God's got a great sense of humor.
But when you actually add that to the realm of storytelling, you need that for people to kind of give their own opinion about it afterwards. Like, was he thinking that, or he could also have done this? It puts people on a path to start thinking like Tesla, or start thinking like Tesla, or who would Musk. That's what your input of what you have is going to get somebody to start thinking outside the box and move on. That's the idea of life, and that's that's what you hope to thrive, is the process of either thinking outside the box or the process of self-reliability. Probably I'm going to go out and find this, or I'm going to go out and find the answer to this, whether or not it's right or not. I want to find out, so I'm going to do the research. But no, with school, reading, I would never have guessed reading for you. I thought you were going to say social studies.
So what social studies would be history, right?
Well, social studies and history are in the same category of each other, but social studies is the study of I would say countries. So your country is if you're focusing on one country, that's a social study. You're studying in that
social studies area. Social studies would have probably been higher for me than reading.
Well, I guess that's really what you do with the Bible, though, too. Is that social studies, and really, based upon
what I would say. I've always loved reading. I love to read.
Yeah.
I don't love the English language arts breakdown of reading.
Yeah, because it's all mumbo jumbo.
It's not mumbo jumbo. I get it. To me, it takes the magic out of reading. I don't like.
I never found that magic.
I don't until
late. I started reading books. I didn't like reading books.
Part of it is, I think it's just who I am as a person. I have more of a lean towards auditory sounds.
Right. Like podcasts.
And so for me, I love the sound of a sentence. And you'll hear me. You hear it in my preaching. You hear it even here in this. I choose words sometimes to put them in a way that sounds like verbal honey. Is the way I like to. That's what
Seinfeld does with his comedy. He'll take a joke, tell it in 2 different places, and change different words in it to where it flows off the tongue better.
But see, I don't like breaking it down into a science. I just like playing with it until it sounds just right to me.
Right.
Which I know is ultimately still the same thing. It's just not as formal of a process in my head. And so for me, learning that as a discipline, as a skill in high school, I didn't like it. It's like I did it
I didn't like it either.
and I was willing to, but I didn't like it.
I read in school because I was forced, but now that I'm older, like I'll pick up a book and read some of it, and I know I can put it down and go back to another one. It's hard for me to keep up with a book if I have more than one book. So like right now, I have to focus on one book, and once I'm finished it, then I'll put on another one because then I'll get them mixed up and confused.
I'm beyond
But like
grateful for what Audible does for me because it helps.
I don't reading a book to me, like it has to be a very interesting person, I think, and that's what I mean. You never know who's going to actually be reading it, and that's the downfall.
No. I'm very careful about what books I choose based on who's narrating. But let me tell you,
can choose about. You can choose. Okay.
Well, if they've recorded something, but
right,
bro, Ready Player One and Two, as read by Will Wheaton, solid.
I hated his voice in Big Bang Theory.
Really? Oh, then you wouldn't like this because he sounds
Will
just
Wheaton
like
to me. He's just. I mean, he's just a like Shelton in the show Big Bang Theory was to intend to be a real nerd, right? And Will Wheaton was pretend to be a fake smart person in the show in Star Trek. Like that's all he was. And like when you listen to him talk, he's very condescending in the show. And I'm assuming that like that portrays into who he. Point. But I'm saying it portrays into who he was trying to be, like also in Star Trek, because he was supposed to sound smart, wasn't he? Or was he?
No, he's just a young guy in Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
He was the little.
I just assumed the kid. I never saw it. I just assumed he was supposed to be like a smart guy leading something.
No, he was the kid. He was the young kid who was a red shirt, and you were always worried he was going to die because he's just the young kid. And you're like, no, get Will out of there.
So he's like the kid in the zombie show that was popular.
Walking he's like Dead. Carl in Walking Dead.
Oh God! But now that I know that, I guess you don't like reading. Like, did you have a favorite teacher or least favorite teacher growing up that I didn't know about?
Absolutely had a favorite teacher.
Of all time. College, high school, middle school, whatever. One teacher.
Okay, one or two?
I'll give you two since there's two. I'll give you one for pre-high school, one for after high school.
Nope.
How's that?
These are both high school.
They were all before. Okay, I already know one of them then.
I had a lot of great professors in college, but nobody. Well,
see, you can't do it.
Okay, give me three. Let me have three.
Okay. All right, I'll give you two. One male, one female, if you can do that.
Deal.
Okay.
No, I have to be able to. What? Okay, just tell me. Okay, you have to let me do three, and here's why.
Okay, do three.
They're all significant in my development. Okay.
Do I know one of them?
You know.
Were we in the same class with one and we picked that one?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was hoping that you didn't choose her because she was just a great person, not necessarily a great teacher.
Who's that?
Miss Stapleton.
Oh, I liked Miss Stapleton, but no, she's not. She's not.
I loved her. I loved her personality.
So very first, right out of the gate, and she will always be high in my list, and that's Mrs. Winters. She was my fourth grade teacher. She was the one who got me into math. I was already into math. I was already good at it. She was the one who took me from the distracted kid who couldn't sit still to placing me in competitions and getting me engaged and challenging my brain and let me utilizing this gifting that I had instead of just, where can I find my attention next? So her and her investment into me and just getting me set on a path that would challenge my brain and get me to stay focused on something for a while.
Right.
So Mrs. Winters for sure. Then when you get into high school, it's Mr. Miller, my physics teacher, senior year.
I'm glad you didn't pick this one teacher that I was hoping you don't pick this guy because I could not stand his arrogant attitude in high school.
Please tell me that's Mr. Justice.
Yes.
The English teacher. Okay.
Yes.
I loved his dry, witty humor forever. His sense of humor was hilarious to me. But I understand why so many people did not like him. But no.
And I never had him.
Huh?
I never had him. I ran
Oh,
into
you
him
never had
in the
Justice?
bathroom. I ran into him in the bathroom, and this is the only time that I've ever interacted with him personally. And that right there said nope. I was in the bathroom. And I went to wash my hands, and he said something. I said, "Excuse me," and he's like, "Oh, I'm working on my book. I'm thinking out loud." Like he was talking like one of those types of people, you know. Oh, you're good. But you know, like how he was very like I asked him what he said in the bathroom, and he goes, "I'm working on my book. I'm thinking out loud. So I apologize if I'm interrupting your bathroom time." I was like, "Whoa, dude. What the hell?"
That's weird.
I thought he was talking to me, and I was just like, "Excuse me, what'd you say?" Like I said it calm, and they're like, "Don't talk to me like that." And I heard he lost his shit one day in class because he thought he lost his book on the computer. His book?
No, just the him like flipping out on his class, or him losing a book. And
Well, like he got mad because he thought he deleted everything on his laptop while he was working on his. I don't know if it was his memoir or whatever, but he was in the process of writing a book, I guess, and that's how I found out was in the bathroom. And then somebody later told me that he snapped on their class because he thought he lost it on the computer.
Weird.
Saints are Cardinals. Yeah. So now that I know, what was your third teacher, or were you still in the middle of the second?
College.
Second teacher. Second
No,
teacher is what you're on. You
second
didn't
teacher
tell
was
me.
Mr. Miller, physics teacher.
Okay, that's right.
So the cool thing about Mr. Miller was a physics like boss. Okay, he understood it all, so he taught me all of it. And every question I had, he answered. It was my last class of the day, so I'd stick around after class and talk to him about it. I ended up TAing for him afterwards because I there were so many more questions I wanted to know, and he was also like a devout believer, and so that was one of the other things that really also helped secure my faith was this combination. And I would say, man, he did so much for that area of my faith. Of how do we sign in? Get started.
We all agree Josh has ADHD, so don't worry if he loses track.
But no, Mr. Miller. Oh, what? Okay, please. But so no, he was there for me. He helped me solidify the lines between my faith and my intelligence, my understanding. And so like just his kind of wisdom and input really helped me take what I understood to be true about science and everything like that, and then fit them within the framework of this intelligent creator who set everything into place and designed the world to operate according to these physical laws, but then has, interacted with that. So it was very, very cool. And then third teacher was Doug Aldridge, who was one of my professors here at college. And it's mostly because I ended up taking almost every one of his classes that he offered, as well as he was a mentor for me and a small group leader. So he just invested in me so much more than just schoolwork, that like to have like college to me was really eye opener because it allowed me to build a friendship with adults who were my teachers in a way that high school never did. And like I can go back now, even, several years after college, and comfortably talk to those professors and ask them for input or wisdom or advice, ask them theological questions, stuff like that. And I think that's just a really cool thing to have access to. So those would be my big
I
three.
apparently didn't have a good school. I had one, and she oddly enough, she was an English teacher, right?
Okay.
And this is why I point that out. If you can keep my attention by like, I mean, I didn't like reading books. I didn't like learning like what a run-on sentence was or how to write this style of paper. I didn't like doing that. But she interested me enough to where I would literally forget everything else was around me, and I would listen to her voice, especially when she read a book. This woman could read the hell out of Mice and Men, and that's still today my favorite book. Like she did the voices to every character so well. Like granted, she's a female. She still did the male characters as though like if that person was talking like that's the voice I hear to this day.
Made you
If
love
I was to
Lenny,
pick up
huh?
that book, oh, I mean, my favorite one was George, but I mean, you can't go wrong with Lenny either. But Mrs. Trent, and she was in Guyman, Oklahoma, was my freshman year of high school. She's the only person that I guess she showed appreciation more towards the student factor of school rather than I'm here to teach you, so you should be happy with that. Like a lot of teachers really get that thing because like they took the time out of their life to go to school, learn how to teach you, and then now they're there teaching you. If that makes sense.
Where? Oh, sorry. Yes. No.
Okay. Uh-uh.
Heather.
Yeah.
Is it on ESPN Plus? Was it? All right. Sorry, man. So, where were
You
we?
asked me who my favorite teacher was, and I
Yeah,
told
tell
you
me
that
about
it
your favorite
was
teacher.
a teacher from junior. I was a freshman in high school in Guyman, and she was the only one that kept my attention. And she just appreciated not just being a teacher, but she appreciated like actually, I guess, trying to keep the focus of people who weren't able to keep focus. Like she struggled.
Yeah.
Like I think she struggled with that. So she really focused on people like me. And then like I hated books. I hated reading. I hated all that. But no, Mrs. Trent was by far she was very patient with pretty much everybody. And then after that, like I loved the movie. Gary Sinise played a really good George. What was the who played Lenny? It was the John Malkovich. He played Lenny.
Mm-hmm.
The old one was okay, but the book was. She made the book that much better, in my opinion, of Mice and Men. So that would be Miss Trent. I guess I didn't have just that type of education luck like you did, where you had 3 teachers. I only had 1. But I appreciated other things in school, and that was my favorite day in school was Super Kids Day.
Oh,
You remember
yeah.
that?
Super
Super
Kids
Kids
Day,
Day was
baby.
the day that everybody looked forward to. Because one,
Yeah.
not only was it usually the last day of school,
Yep.
but it was a barbecue. It was
Mhm.
games. It was food.
Field
It
games.
was
It was
half
fun.
of
It
a
was a
day.
blast. It's
Yeah,
always a blast.
always. But when it came to like you'd said that you didn't like supplies and stuff like that. Like I got into that stuff. Like I wanted the ever sharp click pencils. I wanted like I had the basketball zipper or what do they call those? Trapper keepers. It was the basketball bound like trapper keepers were the shit, dude. It was like a man
I,
purse before a man purse was a
I
man purse.
remember y'all having. I remember in 7th grade I got one, and I was so excited. It was a blue one that looked like a football field, and I had that thing for 2 years. It was awesome.
Yeah. The only thing that sucked was when the rings got bent.
Mm-hmm. I'd always try to bend them back and put them back into place, and it
Right.
never works. It never goes back the same.
When they're
It's always
bent,
just a
it's
little
shot.
crooked, and then your papers are getting torn as you move stuff over. It's just, oof, it's rough.
But now in school, you're working in like what is your actual title working for that area for school? Like what is your all like I know that everybody has the same job, but like what do you feel like your responsibility is as being on the board of the board of education, right?
Yeah, man. So school board is such an interesting dynamic because as an individual, I really don't do anything. Like honestly, like I have no power, I have no authority, I have no role. Like I have no responsibilities as an individual person. But as part of the board, we're the primary decision makers of the school. Like all financial, all legal, all business, all that stuff. We make those major decisions.
Like the
We have one employee, and well, I say one employee. We have one direct report, and that is the superintendent. He reports directly to us, and then he supervises the entire school system. So like we don't make like demands of the school or anything like that. Like we direct
right.
all of our directions and attention and action and any decisions we make go to the superintendent, and then he disseminates it down. So like the key thing for me is my job is to kind of like, as an individual, the things that I can do are speak well about the school, keep people informed about what's going on, be kind of that bridge between the school and our community, and answer questions that I can, but also point people into the right direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One thing, like I know for sure, one thing I can't do is I can't solve anybody's issues. I always will redirect them back to the point of contact in the chain of command. Like,
Right.
because people, you know, in small towns, that can be a thing where people are like, oh, I'll just go talk to a school board member and have them address it. And in reality, like, you know, if this were, you know, if it were a significant thing where we've got an allegation of abuse or something like that, you know, do it, like bring it and let's get it happening. But in most cases, it's usually a situation where it's something that they need to take to the direct supervisor. They need to take it to the principal or to the, you know, to the principal of that building that they're in, or to even to the teacher first. You know, there is a hierarchy that goes, you know, teacher and principal, and then you get into kind of that central office staff. So
Right.
it's a unique position because as an individual, there's not much that I can do outside of just being a good member and being a good like communicator. But
Right.
then as part of the team, all decisions go through that.
Right.
So
I mean, I'm assuming that you guys voted on like curriculum and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And, okay.
yeah.
So
we
here's
got
my question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, finish what you were
I was
saying
gonna
because
say,
my
we just got,
question's going to tie into what I was going to bring up.
We got presented this year some math curriculum that's going to help unify our teaching from basically grades from the beginning all the way up through 12. So K through 12, it's going to try to unify the language through it and things like that. And so part of that, you know, that's part of one of the issues that you face with math is math is a hodgepodge type of learning. So curriculum can be messy, and when you transition from grade to grade and transition through, like, some of that stuff changes. So if the curriculum is designed to teach the same elements all the way through, structurally it's going to help those kids retain that information all the way through. So simple stuff like that is really cool stuff we got to evaluate. We don't do like direct evaluation of that stuff. We assign that to a committee that reviews it, brings it back to us. We look over the finer points or the notes of that, and then make determinations based off of that.
So who makes the call of when, I don't know if you remember this, but in health class, right? You know, when we talk about like the sex ed and stuff like that, who makes that call?
What do you mean?
Like with our generations changing, like, well, no. I'm saying like with generation change, like like what we're in now and what we've been in, like every so many years it changes. Like who ultimately makes the call on like this is the grade that we're going to start teaching this in?
I mean, ultimately the Board of Education does, but it's also kind of a cultural thing too, man. Like,
right. Well, like
here,
ours, this is why I brought it up.
Standard a middle school practice.
Right, and this is why I brought it up. Do you remember the emergency sex ed class we had in 5th grade?
Vaguely. But wasn't that because that somebody got pregnant?
No, It's a much deeper story, and I find it weird that I remember it.
How? Okay, do tell. Tell this one, bro.
I don't know why I remember it, so don't ask, okay? I just remember stupid shit, all right? But anyway, Josh, Jordan, and I were all in the same grade. We're in the same age, like the grade, like we were all in 5th grade together. We weren't always in the same teacher's classroom. Josh, who was that? Was who? For
What?
5th grade? Who was your 5th grade teacher?
Wilson.
Okay, so your 5th grade teacher was Wilson. Me and Jordan both had Mrs. Sturgeon. That was our teacher. But anyway, after lunch one day, we come back to the class. And our class is in the same room, and I'm assuming this is how it was for you. We were all sitting in the classroom, but before things got, I guess, moved around, like Miss Sturgeon came in front of the class and she said, "All right, so we're gonna be doing something different today." And she said, "We're gonna be moving the boys in with the now what we know about this individual, Mr. Roberts, right? And then the
Yes.
girls will be coming into the girls will be going into another room separate with the 2 women teachers, right? And we're in 5th grade, and it's like they were huddled up for like, I don't know, like it was like a halftime for a football game. Like they huddled up to like, we got to talk about this now. Like I don't know if you remember this, but I do. They were
Vaguely.
panicked. Like
Yeah.
yeah, they were panicked, right? So like, we got to talk about this now. So anyway, we moved the switch, and there we are, all 5th grade boys in one room, which is already a bad thing. Like
I
there's
remember being
nothing good.
excited about being in the class, like being with you guys, and
Right.
thinking, "Yeah,
We
we're
had
finally
no
doing this
idea.
problem."
We had no idea what was about to be told to us, or we had no idea what was going to be heard in this room, right?
Yeah.
But we're sitting there, and then Mr. Roberts, who, and I'm just gonna start this out, who later became known as a sexual predator with another student. Okay, granted, he was a lot of people's favorite teachers because of his enthusiasm. A lot of people thought that he had other things going on, anyways, but that's besides the point. But
He was the
we are
guy.
sitting. Oh, go
I
ahead.
vividly remember he had a test one time, and he was one of those teachers that said, "Make sure you read all the way through the test." And on one of his tests, he wrote at the end of it, "Write your name at the top, stand up, say something, it's like recite the, do something, and then flip your paper over and be done." And so it was like, if you had read the test all the way through, you saw that the last one told you didn't have to do any of the test, but to just do this last thing. And
Oh
I
wow,
was like one of the only ones that had read all the way through the test
I don't
and
remember
read
that.
I vividly remember that with him. And I just remember being one of the only students. And when I did it, everyone was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Read, guys, you got to read the test." And I set it down, and I was like, I was so excited that I had like passed the test.
Now that it sounds
So
very
what?
like
So tell me, what do you remember
okay.
then about
So
this
anyway, we're
emergency?
sitting in this room. I want to set the mood, right? So we're all sitting in this room, all dudes, right? I want to say I don't remember if 6th graders were
All
with us or
fifth
not.
grade dudes, all fifth
Right.
grade dudes.
I just don't remember if it was like a joint 6th grade came over also, and then 5th grade girls went over with the 6th graders. I don't remember that. But we're all sitting in this room as very young males who haven't really known anything about their bodies. Mr. Roberts decides to, I guess, lead the class with what happened. And I'm like, what happened? Right. And I don't know if you recall what happened, but apparently
I
that day
don't.
at school, it was hot dog day. Okay. It was hot dog day. And anyway, apparently he starts the class off with, I'm going to start this off with what it's not okay to do today or any day ever with anybody. Apparently, some male in the 5th or 6th grade, I don't know who it was. I wish I did because I would give him a high five because it was catchy back then, right? But anyway, why they did this emergency sex ed, I guess, last 2 hours of school was that apparently one of the male students, either 5th or 6th grade, walked up to another female student and said, "Hey, want to bite of my wiener?" And that's what led us to going through sex ed. And I don't know why I remember that. It was probably because I thought it was funny. I was like, dude, that is
Probably
hilarious.
because you were the kid who said it.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't me. I know I would. If I could, if I was, I would claim that if it was me, dude.
I know you
Trust me.
would. That's the first.
But like, I didn't know. Like, we were 5th graders. Like, I can't remember a time where I was like, this hot dog looks like a male organ or whatever. Like, I never thought that. I was in 5th grade. But whoever did, I was like, dang, that's pretty good. Like, I didn't know if you'd remember that or not. I thought
I
it
do
was.
not. I do not.
I thought it was
How do you
weird as shit
specifically remember though that it was about hot dogs? Like,
because it was
talk about
hot
the
dog
worst
day. That's how
overreaction.
we started the class. That's the only reason why I remember that part of it is that that's how it was. But I do know that later on that week or the next week we were actually going to be taking sex ed, and we had to take the paper home to our parents. They had to sign it. We had to bring it back, and that's what led our sex ed to be in 5th grade. And then it started there, and then of course in freshman year we saw the baby be born, which was a bizarre. Well, actually, it was sophomore year for me. That was a weird. Right.
That class was
It was
weird.
saying don't do
It felt
drugs,
like
don't
it was,
drink.
yeah, it was more so, here's all the terrible things that can happen to you if you have sex.
Right. Like if you like, I think that's how it was. Is like if you drink and all this stuff, it showed like a video of like a kid going to a funeral. He laid in a casket, and his parents had to come and see him. Like this is what happens if you drink and drive, or drink or whatever. And then all of a sudden, the next day, it's a baby being born, and we're like, "What the hell is this?"
Bro, that video was
I was like, "This is nothing." What you were like?
traumatizing.
Now I need to go drink a beer after school. Like this is like. I didn't want to see this today, and like this is a very weird way to like try to scare somebody to not drink, because I don't think this is going to do it. I just didn't know if you remembered our first sex ed, like our sex
Not
ed
as
experience, and that's why I
clearly as
asked.
you do, clearly. Oh man.
But I just didn't know like how that got decided, or like what age was the age of
It's
choice.
decided by your school board. Truthfully, though, I mean, if the school board's not on top of it, you know, here's the thing: when leadership isn't paying attention, the teachers will do as they please. So,
Right.
you know, and that's not a shot at teachers. It's just, you know, it's a
No,
recognition.
as long as they're
that-
not doing anything wrong or malicious,
exactly.
I don't think anything will come back.
There's an element there of
Trust.
yeah, of trust and not micromanaging that you want. That you
Right.
want your teachers to feel flexible and free in that. But there is also
Right.
kind of an element that you're like, you know, if we don't set the standard and set the bar, then all hell breaks loose, and there's no structure, there's no real way to grow if not a vision and a plan. Yo, Heartland Championship Wrestling just had one of the best matches this Saturday. It was the summer showdown. It was a blast, y'all. Big matches, lots of great events. The main event was this big match. The Howlets defeated ACFC. Yo, it was a great match. They beat them by pinfall. An amazing back and forth, just tag team showcase. Just kind of one of those great matches. But you better believe there at the end of the night, the Empire made their presence known. They showed up, and in fact, they attacked the Howlets with chairs at the conclusion of the match. So ACFC was standing talking to the end, but man, you got to watch out because it looks like there may be some bad blood brewing between the Howlets and the Empire. So let's keep watch on that. They got new stuff.
Joshua.
What's that?
Is that some foreshadowing?
That is some foreshadowing, baby. You watch it because there is some bad blood brewing. Ooh, can't wait to see how the Howlets respond to the Empire's just blatant disrespect, y'all. So, next thing coming up for Heartland Championship Wrestling, if you are watching the show, if you are tuned into Heartland Championship Wrestling, here is what's coming up next. On September 23rd, you can catch the Heartland Championship Wrestling crew. They are traveling to the air capital of the world, Wichita, Kansas. They're going to be at the Osage Rec Center. Doors are going to open at 5 p.m. and that bell rings at 6 p.m. General admission is $12 to get in. You can do that early bird the premium admission. That's $15. Or they've got a special VIP package that's going to get you early admission. It's going to get you front row seating and even get you set up with meeting a couple of wrestlers early on. It's going to be the best. You're able to get first access to gears, snacks, all that stuff. It's a great package. So make sure you're following Heartland Championship Wrestling on Facebook for upcoming match announcements. They put all of the drama on their socials, okay? When you want to hear the smack talk from all the wrestlers, it's going to be right there on their socials. They're feeding it to you. They're letting you know what the big beef is. So when you want to hear Empire's response or you want to hear Howlets calling out Empire for what they did, it's going to be right there on their socials. So make sure you follow.
Before you move on, hot announcement with that. We may have a couple wrestlers making their way up on here to have a little few conversations.
Ooh, that would be fun. That would be really cool. Yeah, that'd be really, really cool.
I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. You do not want to miss that show. It's going to be fantastic. Do we know the name of that?
It is the Air Capital Brawl 2023.
Capital Brawl, baby. The Air
They're
Capital
in the Air
Brawl.
Capital of the world.
So make sure you check it out. The Air Capital Brawl, September 23rd. Doors open at 5. Bell rings at 6.
And hey, how did that the match prediction. I forgot who it was that you picked actually, and I guess I could have went back and watched it. But who did you pick?
I predicted that
Did you pick
Kerrigan would defeat Logan Knight.
Oh, and he did.
And he definitely did.
Kerrigan defeated Logan Knight via pinfall.
Yes, sir. So, as I said, I thought.
What's that stuff going on with Red James and Mr. Billy Simmons over there?
Oh, okay. This is hilarious. Okay, so first things first. Red James is one of the best trash talkers in the indie business. He runs his mouth more than anyone I've ever seen. But I gotta give him credit. Occasionally he says some funny things. So you can't hate him too much. But Billy's been, Red's been running his mouth about how much money he can make for Billy's promotion, and Billy's got plenty of talent there, and so Red wants to make sure that Billy knows he's in demand. So apparently like a dozen people at the show last night told Billy, hey, we want Red James. And so Billy's considering booking him. So we'll see how that all plays out.
I think he did book him.
Did he book him?
He did book him because I think the 10 people reached out less than 10 hours after he said that.
Oh, man. So we're going to have to listen to Red James run his mouth at an HCW event. Oh, my. He don't know how to shut up. He don't know how to shut up.
But like Josh said, highly recommend go checking out their Facebook. It is at least on my feed, it's the largest Facebook page that's growing.
Oh, it's fast.
They've got 35,000 already. I think he said
3,500.
in a post that it was like, 3,500. Okay. Well, you never know. Not with Billy anyway. He knows a lot of people.
He does.
But the owner is, I would say, wrestling. Like he focuses on the people that he brings into the organization, and then the fans, and then himself, because that's really what I think brought wrestlers from around not just Kansas but Missouri. You got some coming up from Oklahoma, down from Nebraska. You got some coming from like North Carolina, I think. It's wild.
He is so connected just all the way across the U.S. So, man, you're not going to.
And he teaches.
Yeah, he teaches great. Let me tell you, and being raised as his younger brother, let me tell you, he's a disciplinarian. Okay, I can vouch for what it's like to be trained by that man. I've been unconscious because of that.
Check this out. Do you remember this? I was annoying you one time
because of that.
I was annoying you one time, and Billy stuck up for me, and he like held you down, and you said, "You say you're sorry."
I don't remember this.
I do.
Let me tell you, having Billy Simmons as your brother makes you tough. That's all there is to it. Like, he's
a good motivator for sure.
Oh,
he's
absolutely.
This is where I think you get your compassion side from. Like you like to, I guess, highlight people's achievements, or you like to highlight people's the way they act. And I think he kind of rubbed off on you that way.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. He's got a coach's personality in that he's great at seeing different people's gifting and helping them get better at it, like helping them become better versions of.
I like listening to him talk. Like he'll kind of, I guess, he won't critique you or the wrestlers. I've heard him talk to wrestlers. He's not trying to change the way that they're doing things. He's just trying to use what they have in place already and make it even better. So he's not going to try to change it.
He's never trying to critique and tell you you're wrong. He's always helping you see how you could get better.
Right.
It's never critical. It's always supportive and uplifting. That's one of the things I love about having him as a brother. Seriously. He's best friend.
He was the neighborhood big brother for pretty much everybody that grew up.
Absolutely.
Your parents were the neighborhood mom and dad. Billy was the neighborhood brother, and
I was the neighborhood punching bag. So
everybody there. No, I wouldn't say that. You had a few good rounds with a couple guys in the neighborhood. One in particular.
I meant more
but
so
that
like
is HCW, baby,
and whatnot.
Oh, picked on. Oh, you were picked on? Yeah. I never saw you get picked on.
What are you talking about?
Oh, we make jokes. Oh, Jordan was way worse than me. Jordan is way worse than me.
Jordan's way worse.
I am a Teletubby compared to what Jordan is.
Because you're somewhat sensitive. You're somewhat sensitive, and so you get it sometimes. You sometimes won't cross the line because you're like, no, that'll hurt his feelings. Jordan's like, this will hurt his feelings. I'll say this.
Yeah. But hey, like Josh said, go check out HCW on Facebook. Are they on Twitch also still? Do you know?
I'm not sure if they're streaming.
I know they're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and a couple other places, but I think Twitch is one of those places. But if I'm wrong, I hope somebody comments and lets me know, and then we can tag that later on. But
For sure.
go check out HCW, and then also don't be late to the event in Wichita at the Osage Recreation Center in
Air
Wichita,
Capital
Kansas.
Brawl, baby. Go catch
Air
the
Capital
show.
Brawl in the air capital of the world,
Doors open
Wichita,
at 5.
Kansas.
Bell rings
Ding
at
ding
6.
6.
5 doors. 6 is when the bell rings.
Be there or be square.
Not a structure for
What I want to start it with. We got 14 days. Well, from when this video releases, we will have 14 days until the NFL kickoff.
Let's go.
14 days until the NFL kickoff. All right.
Here it comes.
But I want to start this off by saying Daniel was wrong. Daniel was 100% wrong. Brock Purdy, starter for the 49ers. Brock Purdy is starting for the 49ers, and he
Purdy's
said...
going to start?
Yeah, they've already named that. And
Is
who
he's
said that...
To start?
Yeah, he said that he's our guy. They're like, he's our guy.
Yeah.
But
That makes
Daniel,
sense.
I do believe...
You saw the way he played.
Me and you agreed.
cannot
But
deny.
Daniel was like, he won't be the starter.
He's wrong.
You're
And
wrong,
Daniel-
+1. You're wrong.
+1.
Now you're -1.
You're -1 on that one, +1.
He should be the
Thank
starter,
you.
as he should be.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't unexpected to me. Like I knew it was going to happen, but Daniel did not.
Dude, Brock
But
Purdy to me is such a fun story. Being a Mr. Irrelevant, being so just high energy, so passionate, so like I don't want to see him lose. I want to see him thrive.
Now, here's one. Who do you want to see thrive more, him or Kirk Cousins?
Him. No.
Really? Because I'm a
Him.
Kirk
He's
Cousins
young.
guy now.
I am a Kirk Cousins guy too.
He's young,
But
so
Brock
that tells me that
Purdy's
he has time. Brock Purdy has
I
time.
want to see Kirk get his Super Bowl.
Yes.
I absolutely want to see that happen. However, I really like Brock Purdy. And I'm telling you,
I do too.
The kid's charismatic. He's humble. He's everything that you want in a good leader.
Right. But hey, Brock Purdy's starting. That's all I care about because I knew that he was going to be a starter. Daniel said no. But
I'm
also,
on the Brock Purdy train for sure.
Brock Purdy's trained for real.
Yeah.
But Zeke's got a new dinner table. That's
What?
crazy.
Who's he eating at?
He's going to the Patriots, baby.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah.
Going to the
I'm
Patriots.
surprised it took this long for anybody to sign him. And not because I think he's the greatest running back. He's still a powerhouse top 10 running back in the NFL, no matter how you look at it.
Where's Dalvin? Has he
Dalvin
signed
Cook
yet?
is at the Jets, like I said he would be.
Yo, he did sign with the Jets. Okay.
Dalvin Cook is a Jet.
Golly. Dude,
Like I said,
the Jets?
the Jets, Patriots, Dolphins,
I know.
Bills
Look,
is the
it was-
hardest division in NFL.
Bro, I know you were calling the Jets to win it, weren't you?
Yeah.
I'm starting to maybe lean a little bit more, even more
Jets,
so to
Bills,
the Jets.
I said Jets,
Bills,
Bills, Dolphins, Pats. Now that the running back scenario is figured out, I don't know now. That's a little bit different with the Dolphins because the Dolphins have a rookie running back, I do believe. And their quarterback started his preseason game off with an interception today, so I don't know. Or no, their starting quarterback, Tua. First play of the game, pick, and then he almost kills himself. He almost kills himself trying to tackle a dude in a preseason game.
I didn't see that. Did he butcher the tackle, or what happened?
No, he went to go tackle him, and then he got blocked into the runner, and then the runner jumped over him. But if he wouldn't have, his head would have concreted down him. He'd already be on concussion protocol.
Oof. He'd be on the not top 10. That's what he'd be on.
Right? But Zeke's got a new dinner place, or a dinner seated at Bill Belichick's table. I think that I think he's in his best case scenario, especially given the coaches. He deserves to eat. He should have deserved to eat back in when he got let go from the Cowboys, to be honest. Like, he's still a top 10 running back. So
He's a good running back for sure.
But Burrows is still questionable.
Running backs have it hard right now in the league. That's all there's to it. I don't think there's a person out there that would deny that. It is a crappy time right now to be a running back.
Yeah. I mean, the worst. It's the fastest position to retire from the NFL.
Yeah, and it's unrealistic. It's unreasonable.
The average time is 3 to 5 years in the NFL.
I pray that the shift swings back. I don't think there's anything wrong with expecting more of a running back. I do think the days of being just a running back and not a receiving running back are over. I think we're now in the days of the NFL. You got to be a dual threat. You got to be able to do it all. I think
Zeke's only going to help for the Patriots because they're a passing team, and he's really good in the backfield. He can catch screens. He knows.
I think there's an element to that is going to make the role of running back. It's going to raise the bar of the role, and then it's going to make that role become premium again. So that
maybe he'll set the standard for that.
That's my hope. But I think you got to have guys like Eckler, guys like McCaffrey, just continuing to set the tone of what the bar has to be for a good running back, so that they all meet that standard. And teams have got to figure out that balance of run-pass ratio.
Yeah, and it's not
everybody can
even with injury. Even with injury is like a big thing.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
That's just a monster.
And even he has been known to get hurt. Like, he was out almost over half a season.
He's not unstoppable. Like, even he can.
I mean, he is and he isn't. Like, I think he's made
unstoppable
more.
Trying to tackle him. I'm just saying
he's made more D-backs look like fools than any wide receiver, probably.
I would cry if I had to tackle Derrick Henry. I just want to be very clear about that.
But he's built like a linebacker, so I mean, if you're built like a linebacker, you should. No, he's average size for a linebacker.
Professional wrestler.
Same. I mean, linebackers are big, dude.
Yeah,
but anyway, I mean, there's so many injuries right now that, like, our list that we gave the last time that we were on here was, I mean, it's going to mix some things up, but I'm still confident in my list. I mean, Burrow's injury, like, they're still questionable, and I've got a little, like, I guess, conspiracy behind that, because I wonder if they're kind of like, oh, we're worried about, like, yeah, I'm sure it's an injury, but I'm wondering if they're trying to play it off.
Playing it up just to make it sound worse.
Yeah.
To getting everyone, it could be, man.
But I want to highlight something. Oh, go ahead.
They could be playing possum. You could be right.
Yeah, and that's what I think. But I want to highlight something that's never highlighted. Like, in the NFL career, or NFL, I guess, organization, who is the least highlighted player?
Least highlighted player?
The least highlighted types of players. What are they?
What, like position or
position?
Lineman.
Offensive lineman. All right. Offensive linemen deserve just as much spotlight as any running back, any quarterback, any wide receiver. All right.
Wholeheartedly agree.
I was the most impressed by this stat, and I don't know if you are. Did you know that Lane Johnson has not allowed a sack since November of 2020?
Lane Johnson hasn't?
Lane Johnson.
Dang.
No sack since 2020. That's over 700 days.
Bro,
that's over 1,000 some odd snaps.
If you look at some of these linemen and the records that they have, the streaks that they have of no sacks, of stuff like that, it's insane. Creed Humphrey, our center, his second year didn't allow a single sack his whole year. I think it was the second year. Maybe it was the first year. I don't know.
How hard is it to, do the stats on that since that is interior line? Like, is that like going 1-on-1? Is that how that's like?
It's not hard, because if you touch a player, or if a player lines up in your gap, in your responsibility, it's stat track. If that linebacker comes through your gap,
and that's why I'm asking, because like when we played football, we had things called the read key. So, like,
Right.
say that it was a guard and say that that person was the read key. You weren't supposed to block him and say he sacks the quarterback. Or say he tackles.
Can you turn
I
that
mean,
down a
a
little?
read. Oh, my bad.
No, I'm talking to her.
But do you get what I'm saying? Like, how do you, I guess, track that with, what is it? Like, with the blocking scheme and stuff like that, like read keys. You don't know who's a read key if you're a commentator usually.
Yeah. So my understanding is when they stat track that information, they're looking at the lanes that a lineman blocks. They're looking at any contact he makes. So if you make contact with a player who ends up going on to sack a quarterback, you're going to be responsible for allowing that sack.
That's got to be a job in itself.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, for sure.
But that stat just blows my mind. Like, how do you do that for 3 years? Well, almost 3 in December.
It's an insane, it's an insane thing that we don't process that there are 5 guys.
And it throws the other tackle under the bus sometimes.
Yeah.
If there is a second
5
ball.
guys on that line who are fighting, and as long as they're doing their job every play, you don't even know they're there.
Right.
You don't think about them. But they are fighting tooth and nail to keep this defense from just overwhelming you.
Right.
And, oh, man.
It was just an impressive stat that I came across. I was just like, wow. Like, I can appreciate it because I played line. I mean,
to me, it's the part of offensive, like the protection element is the part that I've loved the most about playing offense. There's something about having a guy that it's your responsibility to make sure nobody touches him.
Right. When you lose that protection, you lose the strategy. Like, the strategy is moot at that point.
Like, I can still vividly, I can close my eyes and I can see Wes Kimmel and his goofy ass grin on his face. And all I want to do is knock the crap out of anybody that tries to make that smile turn into a frown. Like, like, I love that kid. He was always so upbeat and positive. And all I want to do is just be like, okay, let's go score touchdowns, Wes. Come on. Like, that's where it's at. I enjoyed those days.
Protection is key. But my last thing about football, and I don't know if you want to bring something up, might go right ahead. The last thing, the Washington Redskins, or my bad, the Washington Commanders. I keep doing that.
Well, they're
signed a petition.
Back, yeah.
The thing that I don't get, like, I don't know if you've read this. You've got Washington Commanders coming on. I think it's off record. They're complaining that Bieniemy is too intense in practice.
Yeah, they don't.
That's
like
bizarre.
They don't like Bieniemy's approach, and it's why Bieniemy wasn't getting head coach offers. Bieniemy is an old school, in the same vein of what I would say Marty Schottenheimer was. I don't know if you remember Schottenheimer and his approach.
Yeah, Redskins.
Yeah. Okay, so like, again, like that is a style of coaching in the NFL.
Sounds like they need to change their name to the Washington Thinskins instead of the Redskins. Come on now. All right. Sign a petition for that. Put that on the petition. We're the Washington Thinskins. You're not going to offend nobody of native ethnicity, and you're also not going to offend the people that have thicker skin than you. So I guess the ones that are going to cry about it will leave the team. Bye, Felicia.
That's funny.
Quit crying. College football, baby. Are you excited about anything about college? I mean, college is not as exciting. Like, kickoff time is not as exciting like it is for NFL, because I think this is why. They don't start the season off with a banger game. Like, there's no good games week 1 of the college, ever. They're always, you know who's going to win usually.
It's all warm-up stuff, yeah. They're all just trying to get in shape, get ready for the season. You're not wrong.
I like a rival game. Put a rival game 1. Like, give me Alabama versus LSU. Give me Alabama versus Tennessee.
Let's get some drama started. Start out of the gate with drama. The whole conference realignment has me thinking that the NCAA is struggling to keep afloat right now. Just like socially. I don't.
And they have to pay their players. Some of them have to pay their players.
I think it's struggling.
Oh
So
yeah, it will.
they're
It
gonna
will
have to make
continue to
some
struggle.
year that I'm in. It's just fun anytime Arkansas loses. It's just enjoyable to hear the locals just kind of complain about it. So
And sometimes when they win, I mean, I think they're in the AP top 25. That's pretty crazy. Like the polls surprised me this year, and that's what I was kind of like, wow, this could be an interesting. You got 3 Big 12 schools in the top 25. You got K State, TCU, and I want to say Texas are in the top 25 this year. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, Big 12 hasn't been a name at all, and we're about to lose 2 more schools. Mizzou's coming back, or Colorado's coming back. I think, right? Colorado's coming back.
Yeah, again, like I said, with the whole realignment thing, it seems so messy to me. I would not want to try to have to track all this.
They almost need to start back over, like go back to pen and paper, write things down, and do things over again. But
I do not disagree.
I do enjoy a good college football game that's like a traditional rival game. So I can't wait for that. But like you said, baseball is going to be quick for you. But I do want to highlight something about baseball. Did you see that Angels triple play?
Yes.
That was wild.
Bro.
Over half a century, that thing has never been seen. That play?
Clean.
A triple play. And I don't know where they got, like, they say the hardest play in a game is an unassisted triple play.
Yeah.
Like, if you haven't seen this,
it's just so nearly impossible to pull off.
Right.
It's either a shortstop or a second baseman that's going to pull that off. So,
right.
I'm not playing this game, babe. Any luck finding it?
Trying to find the Chiefs game and no luck.
Still. Nothing. It's been an hour.
But they're in Arizona, don't forget. They're not playing at Arrowhead. So it might be different. But baseball for you, the Cardinals are I'll be comfortable to say it. They're out of the race. They ain't going nowhere. They're gonna get a little extra resting time, and that's okay.
So here's my question, Bobby. Now that we're getting closer, I would like from you a record prediction for your Cowboys, and I will give you the same for the Chiefs.
The record prediction? Okay.
Yep.
So my record prediction
for Cowboys.
11-6.
11-6.
11-6. Cowboys win that. Like I said, I'm not going back on what I'm saying. Cowboys are winning that division. Gronk agrees with me. He thinks they're winning the Super Bowl. I'm not. I will never say that. I never have said that. I've never said it's our year. But the Cowboys will go 11-6. They're going to win the division. Number 2 is going to be the Giants. Number 3 is the Eagles. Number 4 is the unfortunate Thinskins.
Thinskins. Love it. Oh, man. I tell you what. I truthfully think the Cowboys...
Is this 2003 Josh, or is this 2023 Josh?
No, this is me. I think the Cowboys will make it. I think the Cowboys will make it to the playoffs this year. I don't think they're making it to the Super Bowl. Chiefs,
I didn't say Gronk did.
Chiefs are going. So Chris Jones is signed for this year. He is going to play this year. The problem is, and as you know, get it, Shane. That is beautiful, baby. Hustling from like 12 yards in. My guy. Oh, man. No, see, that's what I'm talking about. He's got Patrick Mahomes' energy. No, but with Chris Jones, he is signed for this year, so he will play. But as contract negotiations go, this is kind of always the maneuver. When they're in their last year, they start making moves to start negotiating for the next one. It sounds like Chris Jones is dead set on becoming the highest paid player.
Highest paid defensive player.
Or maybe the second highest paid defensive lineman. I don't know.
He wants Aaron Darnold money.
Aaron Donald's money? Yeah.
Yeah. He wants Aaron Darnold money for that.
Here's the thing. The Chiefs love and respect Jones, but because they're trying to build a dynasty, I think as a policy, Beach is pretty much committed to the idea that
And he's
we're
missed
not
so many
paying
practices. He's been fined.
anyone number one money.
Yeah.
That we're trying to
Patrick
be a
Mahomes is
team.
taking hits for the team.
Yep,
He's not being
Patrick is
selfish.
not the highest paid quarterback. Travis is not the
Well,
highest paid tight end.
he's made the most money for his age, I think, is the
He's
only
made
thing
the
he's
most
done.
money. That's different though. Like
Yeah. He's not
actual
the highest paid.
contract value, he does not have the highest contract in the league. And
He signed
it's
a
a
Scottie
matter of
Pippen
pride
contract.
for some of these guys. It's a matter
Right.
of pride.
It shows what their actual goal is. It's either to become the highest paid player or to be a part of the team. And I think most of the Chiefs are all on the same page.
I don't know that that's fair, man.
Travis
Because you have to
Kelce.
remember, yes, but you have to remember there's an entire culture there that you're discrediting. For many, many of these guys, this is their way out. This is their way up. This is how they secure the bag.
Oh,
This
no, I
is
get
more
that.
than just a game to them. This is
Right.
their financial security and future. So
Right.
I won't ever condemn a player for trying to secure. I won't ever condemn a player for trying to secure the best contract they can, negotiate the best deal they can for their talent. Like
There's a difference between trying though and manipulating. So like I'm not saying Chris Jones is manipulating
but
yet, but I'm
again,
saying you have had those players who are saying, "Oh,
again,
I'm going to sit."
the problem with that is it happens on both sides. It's a negotiation table, and part of the drama is both sides want you to believe that they're the innocent one in it. But in reality, it's both
Right.
parties are trying to negotiate and using whatever tactics they can to get people on their side to get what they want.
Right. Make everybody happy, and you can't do.
Yeah.
You'll never do that. You'll never make everybody happy.
I don't blame. Like people get frustrated with Tyreek, and I get frustrated with what Tyreek says when he runs his mouth. But beyond that, I don't get frustrated with Tyreek for leaving the Chiefs.
No.
Like he is thinking long term in his life for his future and securing his funding now and making plans for what comes next. Like I wish that were with the Chiefs, but for him, it was wiser to move to a new team, secure a better contract, and do what he wants to do. So
right, and I agree with that. I'm speaking on the players that use the system as manipulation to get something. I'm not saying Chris Jones is doing that. Is he worth more money? He may very well be.
He's absolutely a tier 1 player and deserves that contract. However, he may have to get that contract with another team because I don't know that the Chiefs will pay it.
Right. But I'm saying when you start saying I'm going to sit even though I have 1 year, that right there tells me that you don't care about your gift.
That's the thing though. He's not sitting.
No, and I'm not saying him. I'm saying other players. Right.
And the players that do leverage that do start getting into games and start becoming that way, I have an issue with. But, in Chris Jones's situation where we're talking a training camp and he's a veteran player, there's elements to that where it's like, no, this is just negotiation tactics, and he's willing to accept the fine of missing out. But he'll be there when it comes time to play. I promise you that.
So you gave me your thought on Chiefs. I gave you my thought on Cowboys. Now let's flip-flop it. I think the Chiefs go, since the Denver Broncos have added to their ammunition and they've gotten a better coach. I mean, the division significantly. No, I'm saying the defense or the significance in the difficulty of playing in the division has just risen for them now.
Sure.
I don't think that the Raiders are going to be a problem for them, but I do think the Chargers are always going to be a problem for them no matter what, because they're always close games. They are always a close game with the Chiefs Chargers. So I say they go 12-5.
12-5, huh?
12-5. Dallas goes 11-6.
Good.
So who do you think Dallas goes?
18 weeks, 17 games. I think Dallas. So here's what I'd say. Dallas makes it to the playoffs. I don't think they win their division.
Okay. You already said that part.
Yep. So I think Dallas goes 11-6.
That's my guess.
I know. I think 11-6, maybe 10-7. I'm halfway. No. Here we go. Here's my guess. They're going 10, 6, and 1.
They ain't tying.
They're going to have a tie.
I'm not
They're going to
tying.
have a tie. Yep, 10, 6, and 1.
Shut
That's my
up.
prediction.
Like we said, baseball's going to be short. Let's move on to the entertainment.
Yeah. Mason Wynn. If we are going to talk baseball, that's the one thing I would highlight. Cardinals have a new player that they're showcasing, Mason Wynn.
Yeah.
Jordan Walker's
But they're
been
still out of the
showcased all
race.
year. Mason Wynn's.
I will be comfortable to
just
say
gotta
that they're
follow.
out of the race for sure.
Good done. We're not
So,
making it to the playoffs.
Like we said, baseball's short. But I'm
I'd
excited about.
like to know what's going to happen with Shohei.
I don't know. What do you say?
He'll go for the most
something?
money.
Oh. Well, he can't be traded this year, so he's stuck with the Angels.
Yeah, he's not getting traded. But what
The
that
ones
means,
that are showing the most interest are the Dodgers and the Yankees, and that's what's scary.
Well, it's crazy because what that means is if they don't sign him by the offseason, he done.
Yeah.
He's a free agent. He can go wherever he wants, and the Angels are getting nothing. They get nothing out of the deal. So, like, they're taking a huge gamble that they can sign Shohei because otherwise, gosh, Babe Ruth just walked out the door and you did nothing to stop it.
And the good thing about Shohei is, like, he is a team's player. Like, he looks out for the team. He's a team's player, and I give him that. So, but other than the Angels' amazing triple play, baseball has really kind of been quiet the past couple weeks. Other than that fight that you told me to watch, that was the biggest thing.
Yeah,
but
fight.
I mean, like it's close in every division almost. I mean, granted,
you have 3-score botched play from like last night. It was insane. Yeah, guy hit a blooper down the third base line.
Oh, where he threw it out of bounds.
Yeah,
that one.
He tried to scoop it out and claim that it wasn't on the line, and
so they're questioning.
called it fair ball, and nobody bothered to chase it. So they scored like 3 runs on it. It was nuts. So.
How they score 3 runs if it's a ground rule double if that happens?
No, it wasn't a ground rule double. It was
it's
a
not?
blooper down the third base line. It didn't go but 3-4 feet, but it rolled on the line, and so the pitcher came up to try and scooped it away like it was a foul ball.
Right.
Ump said it was still on the line, and so therefore was a fair ball when he scooped it and kicked it out, and so he threw the ball all the way over to the dugout, and ball's sitting there right over by the dugout, and nobody's bothering to go get it. But I'm saying live ball, and they're bringing guys around the bases. So they score 3 before they're able to get the ball and get it back to home plate. It was ridiculous.
Now, was he in playing territory when he touched the ball?
Yeah.
So that makes the ball fair.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point.
I thought it was like a botched call on the ref.
Even though the whole team pretty much believed it was foul. And so he scooped it and pitched it out.
So it was
just
pitcher
trying to
blooper.
scoop it out of the way. And the ump said, no, that's a fair ball. And so ball's sitting over here by the dugout, and they're all just kind of staring at him like, what? What do you mean?
So it was a bonehead move.
And they're rounding bases, and it's like.
Yeah. So it was a bonehead move.
Yeah, it was a bonehead move, and just
it couldn't have been worse than what I saw from the A's. The pitcher that kind of nonchalantly trotted to first base, and the runner continues to just power through first.
Yeah, and
that was some high school, or not even high school. That was some slow pitch softball type move. Like that's not stuff that pros do.
Yeah, it is weird to see some of those
pros making type of mistakes. Yeah. Or
mistakes that feel like it's AA and AAA mistakes, not stuff that
you shouldn't be doing now. Like it should be
exactly.
You should be
already
much cleaner play of game.
Yeah,
right.
Although,
and that's age
depending on how
too.
young they are, that's
age.
The farm system in baseball nowadays is just so intricate that
it's very deep. It's very deep though. Like you don't know who's going to be good until they get to that stage, and it's like, wow.
Well, that's what's crazy though. I mean, we were watching Jordan Walker just even a couple of years ago here in Springfield, and now he's killing it up there with Cardinals. Like that's how quick they move up that system.
Yeah,
because he went from Springfield to Memphis like that, and he's been killing it in Memphis. Got a great hit streak, and then finally got up into the pros. Was doing good in the hit streak up there, and then we sent him back down once it got cold, and now he's back up and he's killing it. So now we got Mason Wynn going.
Well, hey, I know that you've got your cut short for time, but I just kind of want to highlight a few things in entertainment real quick, and then we'll move on.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm excited. I don't know if you know about this, but I'm excited just because of what I heard about that Lane Johnson stat. Like, I'm just that much more excited about this documentary that's coming out on, I think it's Prime.
Kelsey?
Jason Kelsey?
Kelsey?
Man.
Bro, I am watching that for sure.
September.
Let's go. Have you heard about that?
September 12th, I think.
For sure, I'm watching that.
Yeah, I'm 100%. I will say this: I am not an Eagles fan by any means. I am 100% a Jason Kelsey fan. He's my type of person. Like you have Travis Kelsey, who is a completely different person.
Guy. He's a great guy.
Travis is his own type of person, and if it wasn't for their podcast and anything like that, you would have never believed that they were raised by the same people.
The dynamic of those two as brothers is so wonderful. Like, I think not only are they brothers, they're best friends. You can
but if you were to meet them on the streets, right, and they didn't tell you they were brothers,
they look enough alike that you could see it, but personality-wise, not a chance. No, you'd never believe that they were raised in the same.
I would have guessed Jason Kelsey was at least 10 years older than Travis. At least.
I could see that. Maturity-wise, for sure.
Yeah. And they're only like 2-3 years apart, right?
Oh, man. Wild thing they were talking about it on the podcast, but I love that. Did you hear that on the podcast with
which one?
When they were talking with Edelman about gloves?
Oh, I love the Edelman stories. The Edelman stories was awesome.
Yeah. Edelman could be a regular guest on that show. And
he is the best storyteller I think they've ever had on the show.
He's a hoot, man. They were talking about wearing gloves.
He reminds me of Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. They're talking about wearing gloves the same color as your opponent's jerseys. And
so
how
they can't see the holding.
It helps hide the holding. Yeah. It's like you're not intentionally holding, but there's so much hand fighting that happens there. Any grabbing of the jersey, anything like that, gets called when it stands out. And the way Edelman talks about Belichick saying, we got red gloves over here, I could see that from the sideline. Like, that made me laugh. But that's brilliant. I wish I would have thought of that.
His Bill Belichick impression was the best.
It's so good.
He does the best. But other than that,
he's humble.
I would like to see a documentary of him, like an Untold. Like I went through this whole plethora of Untolds.
It would be really funny. It would be really fun to watch, specifically the kind of relationship that developed between Brady and Edelman. Like to have a documentary explore that connection between. Maybe even have a documentary that explores great quarterback and receiver combos.
Duos.
That would be really cool. But specifically, their relationship is one that I think is a wonderful one to study.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with you. We don't need more Brady content, but we do because we do.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was a good episode. But I think, like I said, the Kelsey documentary I think is going to be a huge hit. I think it's going to just make a lot of people like him more. But like I said, the Untold, the plethora that I went down, like the Johnny Football Untold, you got to see that.
What are you talking about? Where? Peyton Manning's going to be a professor at a college? Did you hear about this?
No. I don't click on all those.
He's a professor at Tennessee? What is he teaching?
I don't know. He is smart, but I don't know of anything that he would be able to teach to where
Oh, Peyton's a general, man. He could coach.
Right.
I'm
saying coach. But to teach something, what is it that he would be good at? What subject do you think
theory,
it is?
I mean, sports theory, broadcasting.
Yeah. But I'm saying outside of what we know him as, what education.
Yeah, I have no idea what
genre
education he would teach outside of sports broadcasting
or maybe
or something
human
like that.
relations or leadership. Maybe
Yeah,
that
leadership
might be a
course.
good one.
Professor of practice for communication and education. So yes, speech. It's gonna be in.
He's probably got a huge pay. Like they're probably paying him big bucks.
I'm sure it's a good salary. I'm sure. Oh, part-time. Cool.
Oh, so it's kind of like an elective.
Communications makes sense though
Okay.
for Peyton. That absolutely makes sense.
Especially 100%. But have you seen any Untolds? Have you seen any of the Untolds on
Some
Netflix?
of them, but not a bunch.
I highly recommend 2 of them, and only because I watched them. And one of them is Johnny Football.
Oh yeah,
It's just
I
really
heard
good.
about that, man. I heard some of the highlights from that. That is his iPad for hours read 0.0 that he just didn't watch.
The one thing I was questioning, like he was under investigation for getting paid for doing things in college, but he was found not guilty, and now he's talking about it. How is he not like? How are they not taking that Heisman away from him? That's bizarre. He admitted to it on this documentary that he got paid to do autographs.
There haven't been any consequences.
That's crazy.
Well,
and then the
whole scam about it being him being from oil money,
right?
And they just made all that out.
That was their story of like how he got the money because he had his grandpa take the money.
All the money that they were paying him to play football.
I can't hear you, Josh.
The explanation for why he had so much money while he was playing
football. He gave his grandpa the cash. He would deposit it into the account, and then
just that he came from oil money, and nobody checked into it. Nobody did any research whatsoever. Right. They just reiterated.
He was suspended half of a game for something weird, like something you couldn't even give a ticket for. It was kind of weird. But that Untold is a must watch. But the other one is Jake Paul. I know how much you hate Jake Paul. This will make you appreciate. Okay, hold on. This will make you appreciate what he has done to the boxing world. Like,
I doubt it.
You don't know what he's done until you see this. Like you
and
I, we grew up.
Anything about that pretentious d-bag?
Exactly. But hold on though. You know when we grew up, right? Who was the boxer? Who was the boxer that we only heard about as kids? Or like, how many boxers did you hear about growing up? How many boxers? But how many did you hear about?
Like 2 or 3.
You got Tyson, Ali. You got Frazier. You got
Frazier.
Right. That's my point. Who is talking about who now? Besides Money Mayweather, who's the next one?
I was gonna say Money Mayweather and then Pacquiao were the 2 that I knew of. Recently.
Yeah, but I'm saying who is being highlighted in boxing?
I get it.
That's my point.
I get it. He's popular. The Gen Zs love him, but he's a tool bag, and he shouldn't have any fame. The guy's not a good person. Like he's not.
I'm not saying that he is.
Like,
it was a good docu though.
Look at his pride. Like he should not have the fame that he has. Like
I agree with that, but
it
was a good.
The world will support terrible people because they are entertained by them, and it breaks my heart.
Hey, I appreciated the grind that like it talks about, and that's really why I was saying like you should probably watch it. It's decent to like get some background information about like what his goals were for this whole thing. You have a short attention span tonight.
Oh yeah.
What's new?
Usually I can do this. Like you never get sidetracked.
Yeah, sorry. I've got multiple people here, and they're all tuned into our conversation tonight.
Now I feel blessed. But new movies. Are there any new movies that you're excited about? There's one that I'm excited about.
Have we talked about it yet? Did I tell you I watched the Ninja Turtles movie?
Yeah, we talked about that last episode.
Yeah, that was fantastic. We're going to watch Blue Beetle on Monday with Casey. We're pretty excited about that. We've heard good things about that. That's the DC superhero one. It looks pretty good. We saw the Barbie movie. It was pretty good. Know what you're going in. There's a message there.
I heard it was aimed at children, but in all reality, it was for adults.
It's not aimed at children. It's.
No, I'm saying the word Barbie is aimed at children, like girls.
Okay, maybe.
And then the story, like when you watch it,
aimed at women. I think it was more so aimed at women. Anybody that played with a Barbie, it was aimed for them. And the message was kind of pro-woman, but unfortunately a little anti-man.
Men. Yeah.
Yeah. There was halfway decent. There's a halfway decent critique. Like, it's a good critique of our culture, of our behavior, but I think it's also shallow. I think it doesn't give credit enough of how much we have shifted. You know what I mean? And
I will say this.
what?
I'm probably
also
never going to watch it.
And so there's a bias there.
I'm not going to watch it because it's Barbie. That's not anything that interests me. Just like Star Wars, just like Harry Potter. Like,
you'd want to go see it. There's nothing that appealed to you. Like, I went to see it with Heather. She enjoyed it for what it was, but there's, like I said, it represented Barbie well, and it fed into all the nostalgia that people that played with Barbie had. But the message of it, I don't know that I would want reiterated. There were certainly, like America Ferrera has a really good speech at the end about what it means to be a woman, and that was phenomenal. Like, it was really good. It was a really good critique of that. But then there's elements where it shortchanges the dialogue and the connection, like the genuine value between men and women, and it separates them. It keeps them isolated from each other. It doesn't. Here's
so
what I would
pretty much
say.
fed into like saying it was good to what we're doing now.
Yeah, it doesn't at all send the message of what the Bible does, that men and women together are a good thing. This was more so a message of women are a good thing, and men, if they ever figure themselves out, they could be a good thing too.
I did appreciate the I follow Neil deGrasse Tyson on Instagram and Facebook. I always appreciate the way he talks like about anything, because he knows how to make people like understand what like things are about, because he watched both Oppenheimer and the Barbie. He said he watched both of those movies, and he gave statistics about when Oppenheimer was being portrayed as, like what year, and then also the year that the Barbie came out. So he was tying things in together, and he's like, check this out. Like, he's just he's just fun to listen to, man. He's my favorite nerd.
He's entertaining. What? That's hurtful.
You weren't as nerdy as you used to be. Like, I don't hear you talking about like math. Like, I don't have to hear, like, to me, you have grown up. You're not as nerdy as you were. Maybe it's because I've grown up and gotten older. What? But Neil deGrasse Tyson is 100% a nerd.
Career that requires me talking about nerdy things. I talk about Bible things now.
But I know that you've always been into that, so I don't look at you as the best nerd or anything like that. You were just nerdy in the group. You were the nerd. No,
I'm bothered by the fact that you said he was your favorite nerd.
He's my favorite nerd to listen to about science. How's that?
That's fine. He just better not be your favorite nerd.
He pulls my interest, like, about when he talks about it.
I'm your favorite nerd.
I am. I love you, but he just he's clickbait.
No, he does for me too. I love him. He's in fact, we were just watching Heather's really big into this reality TV show called Claim to Fame. And it's this game show. It's this reality show where they get a bunch of people who are related to celebrities. They're not famous, but their relative is. And so the whole point of the game is to guess who their famous celebrity relative is.
Is it pretty easy?
Some of it's been pretty easy, but Neil deGrasse Tyson's son was on this season.
Did you know it was his son, or did they tell you at the beginning who it is?
It's pretty clear it's his son. He looks like him. Do
they call it?
Yeah. He gets out. Yeah, he's not first out, but he's out maybe like week 4 or week 5, something like that. So, but he looks like his dad.
I could see how Neil deGrasse Tyson is a very unique individual, so I could definitely see how his kids would be too. So, especially the way he talks, I'm pretty sure that if anybody sits there and listens to him,
he's got the speaking pattern, and he's also got like the like high pitched excitement in his voice. when he talks.
My
that-
favorite thing he's ever, like, I guess, tried to explain. He'll explain anything you ask him, whether it has to do with his field or if it has to do with something completely 359, not his field, whatever. Theo Vaughn, I don't know if you're familiar with him. I'm sure you've seen his clips.
Yes.
I love Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn is
I know you do.
he is the most unintentional funny person I've ever seen talk in front of any camera. He is 100%. He is 100% honest about everything he says. He's just no. He is. It is so real.
Bobby, you are so full of crap.
No,
I promise
you will never change my mind about this.
Theo Vaughn is created. That man is not real.
You will never convince me that he is not being
presence.
No.
That is a stage presence that he has created. I'm not saying it's not based on his personality, but I promise you, the crap he says is his comedy. It is a made-up persona that he embraces.
I cannot speak for what he does on his show, but what I will say is that when he is on other people's shows, he portrays everything as if it was his show, okay? So when he's either on Joe Rogan or if he's on another person's podcast, the same person, and Joe Rogan's podcast, he does not write down anything, okay? It is 100% off the rip.
This is just his bit. This is his style. He's committed
Everything's
to
different.
Delivery.
Everything is different, though.
It's not. Nothing is different about.
You haven't watched. You have how much of his stand-up have you watched?
At least.
Alrighty then, you have not watched enough of
interviews, and I know I've seen at least one of his stand-ups.
I'm saying how much I've seen 3 of his stand-ups, and I've seen almost every single one of his podcasts.
I've not seen all 3. I've seen one of his stand-ups.
No, I've seen 3. He's got more.
Yeah, I haven't seen, but I've seen all of his interviews. Dude, it's a bit that he is committed to, and he does great with it. But that is not. He is.
You can't convince me otherwise. I'm sorry, I'm stuck to it. But anyway, let me finish what I was trying to say. Neil deGrasse Tyson answers a question that he has. He straight up asks him, "Is the universe gay?" All right. He just says, "Is the universe gay?" Neil deGrasse Tyson grabs this thing like, he's like, this is some low hanging fruit at the moment. I'm gonna explain this to the best of my abilities. And he says, "All right, is the universe gay?" The universe, as everything else, is measured on a spectrum, right? Like he goes down that whole like the nerdism in him, and like he's precise about every word he uses. So I would say, if you asked me if the universe is gay, I would say it is measured like it could be gay or it could not be gay. That was his answer. It was just like, what? And he's like, so he's like, yeah, it's pretty gay. It was like the best bit that I ever seen. Like like the scientist fed into it. If it's a real bit that you claim it to be, because he put gold. He put gold in the mouth of Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson has a bit too. He's committed to the way he delivers too.
I dig it. He could be a comedian.
I wholeheartedly agree. That's why he's so good at the way he explains things, because he's funny in his delivery. But yeah, no. You'll never convince me that Theo Vaughn's real. Like, you'll never convince me that is 100% just him being him.
I will suggest one
smarter than he leads on.
I will suggest one interview of his that I think that you will enjoy is him and Ric Flair have a podcast. Just his newest one that he had. So good.
Yeah.
Just because he's just into wrestling, and Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Ric Flair is the type of guy, like, if you notice in some of his interviews when Theo Vaughn is talking, a lot of the people that he's talking to aren't registering what he's saying, and they skip over something that he said that's hilarious, right? Not Ric Flair. Ric Flair brings it back, and he's laughing through 75% of this episode, and it's just that good. I think it's also Ric Flair's mind. He's very slow, and he processes things, and then he says what he needs to say. He won't talk over Theo
Gotcha.
Von, so he lets the bit, as you call it, be the bit, and then that was that was funny as hell. Like, I think you'll appreciate that one because
Okay.
he's not like saying too much crazy stuff. They're really going into depth about his wrestling career, and I really enjoyed it. So
I
if
do
you
always
get a chance,
appreciate those because I love Ric Flair. I love wrestling, so
oh yeah.
I would be down. So
But hey, buddy, this was a good episode. It was long,
yes, it was.
but it'll be well worth it.
Yep, absolutely. Love you,
So
man.
before everybody goes, I want to say hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, maybe just throw a comment down or two, and we'll be back at you guys next time. I love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.